I would like to say that I will have some minutes to talk about, in general, the dairy sector in Hungary, and then we have very nice, very smart and important presenters. Laszlo Bognár is from the Hungarian Holstein Association, and Gábor Bakos is a farmer, and he has very nice results. So I start to share my screen. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm working at University of Debrecen, Department of Animal Science. This university is situated in the east part of Hungary, and basically this is the geographically called Hungarian Great Plain, and this is the main area for animal production and also for cropland. Concerning the dairy situation in Hungary, we have a little bit less than 500,000 cows, and the number of this stock increased in the last decade. Earlier, it was larger, but concerning the last years, it just increased. That's the whole stock for cattle, and we have approximately 300,000 dairy cows. The number of these cows are similar, or was similar in the previous years. If we see the breeds, the vast majority is Holstein, that's approximately 97%, and we have some Jersey and Brown Swiss. Just a rough estimation of the yield. We have a intensified system in dairy. So for Holsteins, there are several companies, there are several farms where the average yield is over 10,000 liters. For Jersey, that's a much more smaller breed with high fat and protein content in the fat. The yield is between 5,000, 6,000 liters in a lactation. Brown Swiss, over 8,000 liters, and Simmental as a dual-purpose breed is approximately 6,000 liters. If you see the distribution of cows in Hungary, the 2/3 is dairy, 1/3 is beef, and only 5% are dual-purpose. That's basically Simmental. Looking at the milk price, in the last years, in average, we can say that it was 0.3 euro for a liter of milk, and in the last month, it just increased to 0.45 euro for a liter. The total cost means that the feed cost is the major, approximately 60-65%. In general, if we are looking at the farm size, that can be said that it's large. 23% of the dairy farms has more than 500 cows. If we are looking at the farm size, we can say that half of all the farms has more than 300 cows, and the number of farms are relatively small compared to several countries in Europe, especially Poland, because we have over 400 farms, and that's not a large number. If you're looking at the distribution of cows, you can see that half of the cows are kept in farms where they have more than 500 cows. If you see the trend, there was a slight increase in farm size, and there was no change in the number of dairy farms. We have some milk processing companies. Alfurte is a big company, and it is owned by dairy farms. And Solemizo, Friesland, and Lactalis are also present in the country. If I would like to mention some strategy for this resilient in Hungarian dairy farms, we can see that in the last years, the housing technology and milking technology, robot milking, is something which is more and more widespread. For housing, for example, deep bedding was the most common in the last decades. Today, there are more and more farms when they are using laying boxes. The next presenter will talk about the genetics and bulls with genomic breeding value. That's something which we can say that we have a very nice genetic background, especially for Holstein. For biotechnology, embryo transfer is not very widespread, but there are more and more large companies who use this technology. For small farms, they convert the milk into milk. Some of them convert into milk products like cheese, and they sell it with higher price. But most of the farmers say, when we ask them that what could be the possibility for the future, they say that they try to increase milk yield. So still, this is one of the most common aim. Some innovations. We had a very special, it's problematic summer because it was very dry. So this climate change will have some challenges. So new species, new plant species, new type of roughage, technology and harvesting time is on focus. Automatization to decrease labor requirement, because it's more and more complicated to find people for working for the farms. Some large companies are trying to focus on collecting more and more data from the cows. They are using sensors, measuring feed consumption, rumination, some physiology parameters. A2A2 milk is in the focus or in knowledge for some farmers, also milk processing plants. And that could be a possibility to produce GMO-free milk or organic milk. But there is a problem with the price in this year because it didn't increase. Future potential shocks or threat. Our cows are not on the grassland because in average, especially on the east part of the country, the average of the yield of grassland is very low, extremely low. This is 1.5 ton of hay per hectare. It's also a problem that these large dairy farms are not owners of the land, but they have to rent the land. And there are so many contracts which are short term. This is not very good for planning the future. The price of the concentrate is very high. For the next year, the roughage is also, and especially for the protein feed. So these are big problems for the dairy farmers. Thank you very much. Some slides were my presentation. I didn't see how can I close, or did you, Jeff, did you close this one?
Sorry, what did I close?
I mean, can you see me or just a blank screen, or what do you see?
We see we can see your screen, still your screen. You have to go there to there is in the middle, you see the cross. Yes. Yeah.
I see. Okay. I think that's correct.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Laszlo is the next presenter, as I remember.
Do we wait? Do you hear me? It's okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have now the time for questions, or after we finished all of our speeches? What do you think?
I think we've
So shall I proceed?
Yes. Continue.
Okay.
And then we take the questions at the
Good. Okay. So let me just share my screen. Here you go. Okay. Do you see that now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So my presentation, just first of all, thank you for inviting. Thank you, and also all the organizers. Especially on my field, I would like to share the information on the Hungarian Holstein and the dairy sector. It will be a little bit different from the previous presentation because we are focusing on the main breed, the Holstein breed. Resilience for dairy in Hungary, it is very important, but if we are focusing on that, I would say that the biggest challenge what we have now is the public opinion on the climate change and the threats of the climate change, and what is our contribution, or I would say contribution in brackets, for this greenhouse gas emission. Just to put in perspective, it is very hard for explaining people that we are not the killers of the climate and we are not the devil by chance. As you can see, the cows and the human fossil fuel combustion is only around 4% of the global CO equivalent emission. And in that part, we usually say that the cows are the natural part of this cycle because they are eat only that forage and that feed what is taking the CO2 from the air and just recycling it. Maybe the cycle is long, especially CO2 is like 1,000 years, and methane, which is now the next thing, methane is a little bit shorter their shelf life, but I can say that maybe the potential hazard is bigger there. The global greenhouse green emission by sector, if you just take a look, we can see that energy and what is allocated to the energy production is very high, and we have to put that one in perspective, that this is the anthropogene, so what the human can have any kind of influence on it. So we don't have any influence on the volcanic activity or swamps or marshes, wildlife. Small part is caused by human activity, but we can make a change here. So the biggest emission is from the sector of energy, in which industrial use, transportation, energy use of the buildings gives the majority of that one. And agriculture and fishery, the energy which agriculture and fisheries are taking only 1.7%. And if we take a look at this green pie slice, agriculture and forestry land use, it's 18.4%. And waste management and also the direct industry which producing GHG gases are also a small one. And the components, carbon dioxide, methane, dinitrogen oxide, and the fluor gases. And the largest share is CO2, almost 80%. Methane is 11%, which is usually connected to the agricultural activities, and N2O, transportation, and partly disintegration of the fertilizer used on land. Fluor products doesn't have really too much relevance in agriculture. And as we just say that in sectors, energy, the same in the EU as the global, 77%, industry direct is 10%, agriculture is less than 11%, waste management is 3.3%. And now the Hungarian figures, the greenhouse gases in the agriculture, the total emission of the agriculture, you can see that 64,000 tons, and the agriculture is less than 7,000 tons. a little bit more than 7,000 tons. And then it is only 11% of the total emission, which is produced by the agriculture. And then if we just calculate the CO2 equivalent, which could be allocated to the live animals, is 3.2%, and manure handling and processing 1.7%. So altogether is less than 5%. But if we take a look at the methane, then it's a little bit sad, the story, because our production, methane production is almost 99% is coming from live animals, and also manure handling and processing. It's all together 99.3, as I mentioned. And what can we do? This is the global budget, methane budget, and you can see that all of these productions are fossil fuel production and use, agriculture and waste, biomass burning, wetlands, other natural emission, and the sinking what they are taking. So the part which could be again coming down is natural activities in soil and forests. So the budget is plus 10 million tons, and it is increasing. So what can we do? What is the potential solution in animal husbandry? We just had this Cornell University study, which shows the number of cows, the produced amount of milk, and also the annual milk yield per cows. And the very interesting part is that we can produce more milk for human consumption, because we believe that milk is a very natural product, and it is one of the best product what we can have. If we are thinking of how to convert such a feed, which cannot be used in any other places or any other species cannot use. This is why all of these ruminants are ecologically involved or evolved, because they can utilize that kind of fibers what other animals cannot, and they are doing it very, very efficiently. So we have the number of cows, which is going down, the milk yield is going sharply high up, and the volume of milk produced is coming from 50 million tons to 80 million tons. It started in 1944 and the study ended in 2007. And it means that if we just compare the amount of energy which needs for self-maintenance of the cows is the same as it was in the past and it is in now. If we compare the low production, it's 7 kilograms a day. In the middle is a 15, it's a medium production level, 15 kilograms a day, or 29 or more kilograms a day. You can see that the energy requirement for maintenance, it's almost the same. It's the same, 10.3. And the energy requirement for the higher production, it's going up, of course. But if you just take a look at the ratio between that, in the low production cows, more than 2/3 needed for the maintenance of the cow, and then only 4.7% for the milk production. And nowadays, with the modern genotype cow, we can produce very efficiently the milk, because 67% goes directly for the milk production, the higher milk production, which means that we can have results easily. If we feed them, they will produce milk. And the CO2 emission or the carbon footprint is the same. Of course, the modern cow produces more CO2 equivalent greenhouse gas, but if you compare that one per 1 kilogram of milk, you can see that it's almost 1/3 of that level. If you compare it, how much energy and how much greenhouse gas emission goes per 1 kilogram of milk. So it means that this is one way what we can do. But if you compare all of these numbers, I know, I'm sorry, it's a Hungarian part of the, because I made a summary for that for our bidding board. But if you just see the numbers, we reduced the number of lactating cows by 77%. Now only 1/10 of the land is used to produce feed for those cows. We are using 65% less water for them, and 76% they are producing 76% less wet manure equivalent, and the greenhouse gas production went down by 57% in the methane, and in case of dinitrogen oxide minus 44%. So the total carbon footprint of the modern dairy cows now it's minus 63% as it was before in 1944. So what can we do and how can we reach that one and how can we utilize this knowledge in agriculture and the modern selection schemes? Genomic selection is one of the tools. This is what we are using now for years, and our results are just really amazing. I know that it is very wide, broad, this topic, but we cannot go in details. But now the main message is from here. This technology is viable and it can be used by farmers, especially if you are organizing kind of like a program, because we started like a Hun genome program. And we are helping farmers to get to this information, and also we are producing them in a business model, very good results. And then this is how they can have very efficient on-farm selection programs. And we are changing the generation interval. It's getting shorter and shorter because in cattle breeding, the generation interval is very low, I mean very big, like 5 years. And this is why all of the progress was really slow before that, and now we can have fast results. How we work in the business model, our genomic selection allows animal breeding without progeny testing, because progeny testing was the expensive and time-consuming part of that. So we are getting the biological samples. We are making the genotype information in the lab from those animals, and we calculating and computing the genomic breeding values. And then in our business model, we are making reports, benchmarking papers, and giving back the farmers all the information what they need to make very wise and very good selection decisions. And this is how we are going on farm level. They are sending the samples and we are returning all the results. Very easy, very useful, and very cheap, that production. It's about 7 euros per this genotyping and also breeding value estimation result publishing. So the population strategy is very easy. It's very ancient, but very efficient. We try to reduce the number of the animals with low genomic potential and increase the number of high genetic potential animals. And this is what we use. We give them the information on which and the selection lists of animals for culling or reselling it. And the next sector is we are advising them to use beef semen on the dairy cows. In that case, the offspring could be sold for a higher price. And then we use this third sector for the recipients. They are not really good. And then the average and a little bit better than average part is used sex semen. So it can be make sure that we are having only the heifers and mostly the heifers, which means that we don't have that many animals to feed on the farm level. And then the very top part, the very top of the elite population of our farms, we are using embryo transfers and in vitro fertilization. And just to give you also the perspective on that, the average milk recorded cow number in Hungary for the Holstein breed is the highest on the global comparison. We have 444 cows per farm. So our farm are really concentrated, but they are taking good care of the animal health issues and also animal welfare issues, because we are visiting all the farms. We are making the official type classification, and also we are giving advices for the farmers. So we are kind of like checking on this breeding population. And some of our colleagues are also working on different kind of selection indexes. For example, sustainability index we just received from the Australian colleagues, and we are working on pretty much the same, where we are focusing on different traits, genomic traits. Meal components are very important for us, and feed efficiency, fertility of the cows and the pregnant animals, and also longevity, because we believe that if your cows are living longer happily on your farm, then it could give you more result. And also some of the health issues like mastitis resistance, and also, as I mentioned, the functional type, because in that type of big farms, it's very important, the type traits and also the other traits to be considered as ideal. And there are two strategic approach to reduce the total or the gross greenhouse gas emission or reducing the emission intensity. And finally, we believe the future of modern animal breeding, and we are providing tools for our farmers. So basically, that was my presentation, and I think I just click on the somehow. I try to figure. Yep, I just finished the sharing the screen. Thank you. Okay. Do you hear me, I guess? Because I see Gabor. Yep.
I hear you.
Okay, so good. So I finished. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
So I guess, Gabor, please.
So I suppose
the floor is yours.
Yeah,
It's my turn. Okay. I try to share my screen too. Just feedback. Everybody see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay, it's good. First of all, I want to say thank you for everybody to invite me for this webinar. I'm not going to tell you as much numbers and like the previous presenters. I try to explain and try to show and introduce what the Hungarian average farms are challenging today in real life. Just a couple of words about me and my background. I'm working with cows over 25 years ago now. I spent 1 year in the United States in the big dairy farms as working and studying. It was a scholarship from the Agricultural Ministry of Hungary. In the past 25 years, most of the time I work in the big dairies in Hungary, over 2,000 cows. I'm managing them. And 2 years ago, I decided I start doing my own farm, and I try to do something else, something different than the usual Hungarian farms are doing. Laszlo and Levente knows me better. I'm working as a consultor in Hungary, and also I'm visiting a lot of times in the United States farms and learned from them. What was the purpose of starting my own farm is because I see a lot of things different than the owners and the farmers are seeing, and I try to explain to them and try to show them how can the dairy farming can be different. I'm sorry for that. Excuse me for this technical dismiss. And I bought this farm in this year. It was a 400 cows farm, an old-style farm, and in a really bad shape, in a low production. And the owners thought they will sell it. And I decided I will buy it and do something else, do something different. And what is the biggest problem and the biggest challenge in Hungary, and it will be sometimes unpleasant to the farmers, are they not farmers really? And the owners, they're not farmers really, because the owners are not working with cows. The managers, the laborers, or the engineers, whatever we call them, they're not owners. That's the biggest issue in the Hungarian dairy business, I guess. This is business. It's not a hobby. It's not a part-time activity. It's business. And if you don't see that it is a business, you screw up. If you cannot do it better, or you can't do it good, you will be fall down. And if you can just waiting for somebody else to solve your problem and give a solution for your problems or your challenges, it's not going to work. So I decided I do as a business. I spend a lot of time with cows, and I spend a lot of time with business, understand numbers, understand budget control, understand cost control. And now we run on the farm. Within 9 months, we changed the whole herd and changed everything's on the farm. So now we run about 550 cows on the farm, just cows. It's around 38 kilograms of milk production, the cows. And it's interesting, I have any square meter of land, not lease, not rent, not owned. So I'm not working with the lands. And we have 20 employees on the farm, and it's one of the most interesting issue in my business. I'm not raising replacements on the farm. As I told you, it's an old style farm. You will see. I take some pictures so you can see my farm, how it looks like. Of course, I want to improve, and I want to invest a lot of money to change the view and make it better and make it more modern farm of the style. But the major thing is just producing milk, just keeping cows on the farm, and just focusing on budget, focusing on profitability, and focusing on the cows. So what we are challenging today, and I don't want to talk about common things like war, like greenhouse gas. As Laszlo already talked about it. One of the biggest challenges what we are facing now is the labor source, energy source, and a market. Is it the education, changing the consumer habits, and the climate change. Climate change has already been an issue, and it was a topic the previous presenters. Consumer habit is just a couple words. I would say, as a farmer, we need to accept and we need to do our job what the consumer wants. If the consumer wants healthy cow's milk, we need to provide healthy cow milk. We cannot say we don't want to, because we're going to out from the business. We must do what the consumer, what the buyers wants to from us. One of the biggest issue is this for the labor source. What we do with laborers and the other challenges. What I do and what we do on the farm, we every day, every hours, every minute, every second, we're focusing on profitability. All the decisions what we made on the farm, even with the cows, even with the tractors, even with the buildings, is up to cost and incomes. We never decide, we never make decisions without calculation. Is it a short-time investment? It's a long-time investment. When our money will be we return. So we watch and focusing break even. So this is it's kind of unique in Hungary. Laszlo and Levente knows better. Most of the herd managers on the farm, they do a great job. They do an excellent job on the farm. They are really good managers. They are great guys. I know all of them in Hungary, but they are not watching budget, not watching cost. The cost control and budget control usually do does some others. Some bookkeepers, might be the owner, but not the managers. So it was every time a question mark in my head. How can you make decision without know your cost or know your income? So that's one of the biggest challenges in Hungary, and it's an education question. Do we need to educate our herd manager or owners? Because most of the owners, they're not working with cows. Most of the herd managers and guys who are working with cows, they don't understand bookkeeping and cost and money. What we do, and I do with my farm, we do it every week, but every monthly, we make a whole report, not just about our production, our herd performance. We also made a report about our business. It's about incomes, cost controls, everything. So all my managers, they understand what does it mean losing the cows after the first lactation. All of them understand what does it mean losing half of kilos milk per day per cow, because they understand the cost, understand the income and all of them. But it needs to be controlled, need to be reported. How do I work without lands? It's also a big question, because most of the farmers, not just in Hungary, and all around Europe, and I will honest with you, I bring this idea from the United States. Most of the farmers, they want to work with lands, buying expensive tractors, buying expensive equipments. They want to produce their own feed, forages, hay, whatever. But what happened if the owner is not a farmer? They will make a calculation and say, okay, we make money on the lands because the corn price, grain price are very high in this year, and in the past 2 years just going higher and higher. If you make a calculation, you will decide it's better to keep just the land and working with crops and grains and not keeping cows. It will be a disagreement every time with the managers who work with the cows and the owners who own the lands, because it's about money. You use a lot of money and also a lot of whole bunch of budget to keep this whole sector, the lands, the tractors, the seeders, whatever, to work with. But I don't have it. What I do, I make a long-term contracts with other farmers who has lands, and I buy everything on market price. Why in market price? Because I just lying to myself if I put everything in the cow and the milk production in the low cost, but it's my self-production cost. And end of the day, on the end of the year, I make a calculation and I said, okay, I'm the owner. I fed my cows 1,000 tons of corn, and I made just a couple €1,000 profit on my cows. And what if I sell my corn on the market and I could make a couple €100,000 of profit? So this is about business. It's not about cow or land or whatever. So we need to, that's the reason I don't have any land. I have a little good construction and contracts with the farmers, and they open it and they're glad and they're happy to work with me. So they produce my corn, they produce my alfalfa. I can buy hay from farmers who has hay lands. What I have to do for the custom service who cut the hay, make the bales, or the choppers who chopping the corn silage, and the transportation bring the whole thing into my farm. You see the pictures. This is not my land. It's not even my tractor, not even my chopper, but I organize and I coordinating the whole process of harvest, but not owned any of them. And also, as I told you about, not just focusing the profitability, because I'm the farmer, I'm dairy farmer, I'm producing milk, and the cows producing the milk. So I have to watch, and I'll be watching all the KPIs, what's important, and it's necessary to be a profitable dairy farm. This is like days in milk, days open, pregnancy rate, whatever, etc., etc. That's one of the major numbers what we're looking for every week, every month. So we are monitoring these numbers. Also, one of the big challenge, and as I already talked about it, your returns of your investments. It's also an unpleasant words coming, and it's true not for Hungary and also true for whole European Union, is the subsidy system. I know it's very important, I know it's good, but it makes farmers lazy, makes farmers uninnovative, because what the farmer does the first day of the year, they start counting how many subsidy money they get. They make decisions about get the money in the pocket already, not without it. So we do a lot, we still will do a lot of investments, but it's never returned. That's my biggest sadness about the whole situation, because even the Hungarian milk production and even the Hungarian Holstein production is one of the highest in Hungary, in Europe, and we can be so proud of it, and I'm so proud of it because I'm one of them. But how can be the biggest, and how can be it's more profitable, and how can be it's more sustainable about money and about businessing? It's one of the question and one of the biggest thing, how you spend your money for investments. And I see a lot of, I'm sorry, stupid ideas to just spend money and never count and never calculate the returning and your investments, because it is the subsidies sometimes it's just a free money. It's not just in Hungary, it's all around Europe, unfortunately. Maybe you close out from this webinar the next time because they said this guy just talking bullshit, but I don't think so, because it's about money. I don't think in the next 50 years or the next 100 years, the next generation will finance of their money just keep somebody in business and do not a profitable business. So I'm worried about it. It will be changed, I think. And the labor source is one of the, not just my, and also in all Hungarian that I see, and I can imagine it all around Europe, it's one of the biggest challenge, the labor source. The generations change. Young generation, they don't want to work in agriculture. And they don't also want to see and don't want to work in animal husbandry, especially the farms they keeping cows or keep some animals. This is a 24/7 business. Day, night, no vacation, it's dirty, it's hard, it's tough. So we need to understand that the new generation, they don't want to work anymore in the dairy business. They will, even if we pay them over the average salary, over the country average, we paid over the average salary, and they also don't work as much hours, so not even the regular hours, They work less than the regular hours with needs, but still don't have enough labor for some kind of job, like milkers. We cannot find milkers. It's because the new generation, they don't want to work with cows anymore. Old guys and older generation, they have no power, they don't have health to do what these cows wants to do. I understand when we're talking about with other farmers, oh, of course, in my old time, when I was old, when my grandma and my grandfathers and my fathers, they can be milking cows every day, of course. And I understand and I respect it. But don't forget, it's about 30 years ago, the Hungarian Holstein only gave just 6,000 kilograms of milk. Now they doubled. They give more milk. These cows, this type of cows, this type of Holstein has a more attention. You have to focus on the details on the cows, and you have to milk them very fast because the cow needs to go back to the barn and lay down and rest to produce more milk. It's not about it's old time and old-fashioned milking system. So need to understand it. But the young generation, because milking is a very, very tough work. I suppose some of the guys are already tried. It's not a celebrity job. What we do now and how can we solve it? We hired a lot of worker and laborers for part-time job. We give them a daily wages, and they can apply for 1 or 2 days a week or 10 days a month. They're working somewhere else, and if they have free time, show up the farm and working part-time. Also a very good solution for labor source of trainees from high school, trainees from university, and it's very good because they are young, they are open for learning, and they want to prove yourself, they prove themselves, and also for ourselves to can do it. One of the solution can be these employees from the third country is very common in Hungary, from India and the Philippines. They're coming from and spend 1 or 2 years in Hungary. They are usually our milkers. What we give for our laborers and for employees, we try to give them all the advantage, not just salary advantage, like housing, like insurance, like feeding support, transportation support, buying cars. They can use cars to move one place to the other. And this is the advantages what you need to keep an eye when you are hiring laborers, because most of the farms and most of the companies, they think everything is about just money. It's not just about money. This generation, they want to spend their money. It's not like in 40 years ago or 30 years ago, if you work, go home, lay down, wake up, go work, go home, lay down, and it's no. The young generation, they want to go work, go home, spend time with their friends, with their girlfriends, whatever, do some hobby, do some part-time activity, and lay down and go back work. So that's what they want to do. They don't want to spend their whole day and whole life in the farm. And also, we try to and working on to loyalty for the employers and loyalty for the employees as well, and the appreciation. It's very important as a farmer, as an owner, to say thank you every day your people, because without them your business is not going to run. And I just want to jump to the next one, is the education. Education can be on a whole webinar topic, because education is one of the most powerful thing what man or a human can handle. So if you have knowledge, if you have ability to do something, you can do it whatever you want, wherever you want. This is one of the biggest thing, education. Education is not just responsibility of the universities or the high schools or the primary schools, also the farmers, also the whole sector of dairy needs to be educated. The people, not just the people, the generations. A couple of months ago and maybe a year ago, we were talking about how the consumers, they're changing their habit. Dairy farmers are in the target because our cows are struggled. We hit our cows, they poor cows, even they give a gas emission. So we are the devil, what Laszlo said. We are the devil in some people's eyes. All of you guys who are here in this webinar, they understand the cows are not devil and we are not the devil's farmer. So we do our job because we love cows, we love the animals. We also want to keep in business and do what best for us and best for the cows and best for the world and best for the people. So if we have a bunch of people, like from the teenagers till mid-30s, and they think the cow and the dairy farmers are bad because they keep the cows in shit and in a bad condition, we need to educate them. We show them it's not true. But you have to find and you have to go to the platform where these guys are complaining. This webinar is very good. We're talking about scientists, guys farming, some guys from universities, some other farmers. But we have to also go to the platforms where these guys they are talking and chatting and influencing, and they are a lot of influencer. They share their opinions and share their thought about dairy and about farmers. So we have to go there and explain that this is a social media. This is a social media, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. I saw a lot of, and I already met a couple guys, young farmers, young dairy guys, who do every single day some short videos about some case, about some cows, about some daily routine to share what the dairy farmer really do on a farm. It's very important to educate our nation, educate our next generation, because if we do not educate them, they start losing all and they let all the dairy products out of their daily routine, their daily diets, because they think cows are suffering and struggling on the farms. So we need to show them, and that's one of my biggest purpose of my work, to show not just around my community, my farm, around my farm, to show what we are doing, and I also want to share all the peoples in the country, in Europe, in the world, what we are doing. So we have a Facebook page, and we're posting a lot of new things on the farm to share. People want to see what we are doing on the farm. It's a good commercial for the farm, so can laborers and can come and work with us. Also good commercial for the farm and for the dairy business as well. We are not a slaughterhouse. We keep our cows in a good condition. And also its education is very important, would be very important. Educate your people every month or every other month. What is new? Do a feedback. Is their job doing right or what? If you change something on the farm, if you do some new investments in the farm, the Oreo people needs to understand why these investments we are doing. What's the reason? What's the purpose of this investment? They need to understand it, because if they don't understand something, they start worry about it. If the laborers and the employee are worried, it's never good. It's never good. Cow comfort and welfare, I don't think it's need to work. You see in the pictures, that's my farm, that's my son. When it's vacation or weekend, they usually show up on the farm and help me to, especially the calves or calves, and the cows as well. This is some pictures about the farm. If this, you see the right side or the left side on the this left side picture, that was an old hay barn, and we make a modification and build up for a quarantine barn. So because I told you we don't have heifers, we buy all the pregnant heifers 1 or 2 months before calving. So we just keep them 2 months on the farm. So we buy very good genetics from all around the country, and this is one of the reason. It also was about money and about cost. That's the reason I don't spend and don't raising heifers on the farm. And the left side is, it was an old heifer barn. We set up for close-up for heifers. There is our mixer wagon, and this is on the left side. You see on my double 12 GIA parallel herringbone parlor. So milking in two shifts, 3 times milking, but in 2 shifts. And there's some pictures about my farm. That's what it looked like in a muddy fall morning at the farm. And there's alfalfa or raygrass harvest down in the picture, and some calf pictures as well. So thank you for the opportunity to present my farm and my speech. Need to stop. Yes. As I'm okay. Yeah. So thank you. If you have questions and answers now, I'm open for it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I would thank them, whole Hungarian team, and ask for questions. There are questions to the 3 of them. I think it was very interesting to hear the farmer. Bakos is your forename, I suppose. We had already the discussion in the project that the real resilience is the farmer himself, and the education. I think that you showed in a very good way that if you want to have your farm resilient, it's really that you are the key to the solution, to find solutions for your farm in your context. And that's what I think that you showed very good, that the context is very different from the other countries we already saw. Yeah, and everybody has to find his solution. And there's one solution you also named, which is the cooperation with other farmers. This is a solution I think we will develop in the project 100 solution. One of these is also the cooperation, which will be described. Maria, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, if you permit me. Good morning to everybody. Thank you very much for very interesting presentations from Hungary. And I have a question for Gabor and also for Laszlo. Gabor, you mentioned part-time employers or workers.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed because on the dairy farms, in fact, we would like to have people which are really have excellent skills for dairy cows, for milking, and which are also very motivated. And I would like to hear how you manage to get workers on the time when you need, because if they have another job, then of course another job is more important than this part-time work.
Okay.
And another question for you is also how you manage this year, because you have no land and you are completely dependent from the buying feed from other farmers. How is with economics this year? I think this system works very good when is a lot of feed available on the market, but this year is a lot of competition.
Okay.
And for Laszlo, you mentioned price of genotyping, but I think it was bad connection, so I didn't hear what is the price for genotyping and who offered this information to farmers. Your organization, or you have some contract with some other company, and how quickly farmers get return information which are useful for them. Thank you.
Okay. I let Laszlo answer first because probably they will be shorter.
Yes, it will be short. Thank you and good morning, Maria. Thank you for your question. Good to see you too, because we lost track for a long time now. The question is very good. This is a very special program. We have a national budget for that kind of innovative approaches for agriculture, and especially for animal breeding and the animal breeding the whole scheme. This is what we use, and then we can apply money from that if that and of course it's a national budget and it's not direct payment for farmers, but we are reducing the cost of this genotyping. We are working very closely with friends and international companies, but we are carrying out the sample collection logistic part ourselves, and then we have a contract with the national authority here in Hungary for the data collection and running the central database. And then the breeding value estimation is partly done by the national authority and also partly done by our association own. We are using international partners from CIRV. So basically the lab is located till the last year, it was the Czech Moravian company. So together with the Czech colleagues. And then now we changed because of the economic situation, also for the cost of per analyzing. And then we went to the Van Herring laboratory, because we have to realize that the cost for this lab analysis is only purely based on the numbers. And then we had to maximize the number of tests and minimize the cost. And this is how we can have now the very, very good price for the farmers. And the part of this one should be paid by the farmers, which is €7 now, €7.
And which SNP you use?
The standard chip.
50K?
Yes. Yes.
Is this a laboratory available also for your neighbors?
Well, it's up to you.
Okay. I will come back to you by email.
But just read my lips. So this is the cost what the farmer should pay. I pay a little bit more for that, but I apply the money from the national budget. So the national government is helping this innovative product for farmers to make it available. But the costs are, I would say, following the EU regulation, 70% up to 70% could be covered. So 70% could be covered, and almost 1/3 should be paid by the farmers. So you can make your math. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
So my turn. It's a good question. The first question are the part-time workers and the skills and motivation. 2 years ago, one of my colleagues, she made, and I helped her to made her master degree as a human resource mentor, or whatever they called in the university, and I helped translating some I guess some European Union studies. And that was, in the study, it was a lot of topics about part-time work. And I really don't understand, what does it mean, part-time work, part-time job? Now I have to facing in this year, what does it really mean, part-time job? And before you are start doing and start applying on your farm, on your business, you have to understand, what does it mean. Some of the laborers needs more money. Some of the laborers need more time with their family, with their part-time activity, or their friends, or their dogs, or their hobby, whatever. How we manage it? We do every time a recyclement, so we are hiring more milkers in the system than we needed. So we teach them. We have a written. It's very important. We have a written standard operation procedure book, a handbook on my farm, presented with pictures, figures, times, numbers, who, when, what, why should do and have to do on the farm. So all my part-time milkers, or whatever they position we are hire them, needs to learn this handbook. We put in charge with somebody else who already in the farm has experience and had a routine in the good skills to check this new applicant, it can work or not, is able to work by himself or not. So this is the first steps. And one of my colleagues, he checked this new applicant is able to work, they do their job, what we hired for, we let them work. So all the part-time workers needs to be, as you said, skills, but they have to learn it on my farm. I really don't care what he or what she has on his previous job, on her previous job, what he learned from his grandmother or his grandfather, or I don't care if he or she was the holy Jesus who laying down next to the feed bank and said, I grow up with cows. I don't care. You must do on my farm what is written, what we are set up. This is about skills. And after 1 day or 2 days, we will find out these guys are scary about cows. Thank you very much for coming. This is not your job. And also every position has KPIs, numbers, how fast you have to milk, what's the steps, what you have to do, what's the milk quality, what we are accept from your job, what's the calf loss or dead loss on your job when you are raising heifer or calves, working with calves, what's the daily routine with the feeder guys, how fast, how exact feeding you should provide on the farm, because we have all the working position, we have numbers, we have points, and we have scales, we have computers, we collecting a lot of data to, not because we want to supervising and like a drug finder dog to supervise our people. No, we want them teach. If you see, we said, okay, after 2 days, this is your numbers. See, this is what should be, and this is yours. So you need a couple more days to learn, and you get some experience or some practical job with this guy. Will be your mentor. So please spend 2 more days with him. So that's the skills coming from. And how can you be motivated? If you make your first question, why do you want to work on my farm? He said, because I like cows. I want more money. I have a lot of free time because maybe I'm working just I'm working in a seasonal job. So like we used to have guys waitress. They're working on close to the Balaton and the Balaton, the big lake. There's no vacation in the summertime. Waitress has no job. They have a lot of time. They show up on the farm. They said, okay, we would like to work with you guys, and this is a motivation. Of course, you have to treat your, and it is your, as an owner, as a farm manager, it's your responsibility to keep your people motivated. It's yours. It's not his. It's yours. If one of the employee or one of the your people, your man or your people don't feel comfortable on your farm, it's not because about the farm. It's about you. It's about you. Every time about you. Can you imagine? You don't need to be sit in the best hotel if you have a good company, right? You can drink a glass of beer in an old pub with a good company, or you can sit sadly in the best pub, wherever in the world, if you're not enjoyed. It's about what's the feeling, what's the whole, is it a team or just a bunch of people on a place? It's a team, but it's created, you created your team and you pick it up. What kind of guy you want to see on your farm? It's up to you. It's not about milk price or cow loss or whatever. It's everything's coming after it. If your debt loss is too high on your farm and you did everything in your facilities, on your ventilation, your feeding, ask your people, why your cow debt loss is high? Because they don't care cows. They are unmotivated. They lose their motivation. And they don't lose their motivation because of the tractor is green or red, or the milk price is high or low. No, it's about because they treat like, treat like shit. You have to treat your people as a partner. If you treat your people as your partner, they will acting like a partner. They will care. They will care what they do. And you have to see also, as your farmer, as your owner, as a manager, you have to also see who wants to do it, who wants to do, or who not. I have two kind of person on my farm. One who wants to do and standing in the front of the line. The other one, he can follow. The third one who want to go somewhere else or just, just threatening and do some background and underground job, you have to see it. And if you have a good team, your good team will sort them out, that kind of teammates. It's not a teammate. So this is about skills and motivation. And the second question, how can we solve this tricky year? Because it was a tough year. It was 70% of the whole country was a outstanding drought. So there's no rain. In a big plain, what Levente said, was almost nothing. Of course, the feed price went higher. Also, it's due to for the energy price went higher, and it is not really just problem if the price is high. The major thing, the major challenge, that is enough or not, we have or not. So it doesn't matter it's expensive or cheap. If you don't have, everything's expensive. So I'm in a lucky situation. My farm is southwest side of the country. I'm close to the Alps. I'm close to the Austrian border and the Slovenian border. I know I was a very lucky farmers in this year. I have enough rain, I have enough corn, I have enough corn silage. So in this year, I had no that kind of challenge and that kind of problems that in the usual Hungarian farmers they had. So I have everything. But the price was so high, everything was so high. So and how we handle this, of course, that's the reason you need to watch your cost. I do a break-even calculation and every month. It says how much money I spend for one cow per day. Everything, including my phone, my car, everything. Even a coffee, what my people drink on the farm. And it gives you a number per day per cow, and I divided the actual milk price. And it gives you a production level, a daily production level, what is covered your zero. That's you have to keep your eye on what you can put in or not, or take it out. And this number, because I have no heifers on the farm, heifer raising is one of the biggest costs, not the feeding cost. Ladies and gentlemen, not the feeding cost, biggest cost in a dairy. It's in a heifer, raising heifer. To over 2,000 euro in one heifer, over 2,000 euro in one pregnant heifer. You have to build up, you have to raise it. It's 2,000. If you have 100, you can multiply 100 heifer, multiply 2,000 euro. It's a whole bunch of money. You have to cover it. So in an unlucky year, if you have no luck and you don't have rain, and every time I say my previous jobs and my previous place where I used to work and I was shareholder, I told my partners, if it's good year, do as much forage as you can. Do as much, because if it's too many rain, full of corn, market is full with corn, the price will go down. That the year you have to put your corn silage. Corn silage will be fine after 2 years. And the next year you don't need as much corn silage. You can sell it, your corn, on the market. So that's what I do. If it's good year, I buy more corn silage. Next year, when it's too high, when it's too expensive, I don't have to buy. So I'm okay. So my cash flow, my budget is not pressing to buy. And also it's been in Hungary, I think we are very good, in good condition about byproducts. It's still an open place, an open possibility for dairy farmers to use byproducts. We have beet pops, we have brewery, we have a lot of companies who let byproducts back, so from the corn, from the ethanol products. So it needs to be put more and more byproducts into our dairy ration and dairy diets. This is still an open field. We have a lot of byproduct, but we don't use as much as we can. So the cows can handle it. So that's what we're doing in this year. So of course, if just one fact about your question, the last year forage price per ton, and this year forage price per ton is doubled. But I say the milk price is almost doubled. I'm not lying to you. So I'm honest with you guys. So the milk price went up too. The milk price went up too. So you can do it. And of course you are facing, but I think that kind of webinar, that kind of talking, it's not about crying each other and say, okay, oh, we are the losers of the agriculture. Right? No, I don't want. If I would be that kind of guy. I never bought a farm, and that was enough. 25 years I heard every time, oh, we are the losers. We don't have money. Milk price is down. Why do you want to work, and why do you want to effect something that you can change? Farmers cannot effect on milk price. Market will, the consumers, the global market will effect on milk price. And every time the farmers want to complain about milk price. But they have cost, a lot of cost. That's what you can affect. That's what you are control, your cost, not your price. Complaining the beef calf price, it's too low. Eat more calf. Eat more veal. Tell McDonald's don't selling vegan burgers, selling veal burgers. We are want to complaining every time about the price. No, you have to think about your cost. If you're a businessman, you have to think about your cost. So I don't know. It was an answer what you are.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay.
Jeff, do you permit me? I have two more questions shortly.
Yeah, short, I think, because we are losing some people. I think it's good to keep to 1.5 hours. But yes.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah. Gabor, I have two short questions.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you explained what happened with manure, or perhaps I missed this information. How you manage with manure is one question, and another one, because we have the lack of good workers, do you think to introduce milking robots in future?
Okay, the first manure. That was my biggest fear about farming without land. What should I do, and what would I have to do with the manure? Global solution I have. So the energy price, gas price, propane and propane price, and the fertilizer price went, I don't know, 3 times, 4 times higher than the previous years, and it still runs up. And the farmers realized how good is use manure on the lands. So what I do, I'm doing a barter, so exchanging. So I give the farmers to a manure, and they give me back hay or straw, and we have an exchange number for that. So I give them 1 part of, I give you 4 part or 2 part of manure, and they give me back 1 part of straw. So that's kind of dealing. But I also have a lot of farmers who are knocking on my farm, so they want to buy. They want to buy manure because they understand and they realized it's much cheaper to you and much better for them. So if you're talking about sustainable system, it's I think if you put on your products, it's organic and we don't use fertilizer. It's much better. So we go back, and we went back for the basic. So and I also invest some money on my farm to use the liquid manure. So liquid manure is one of the I use also on alfalfa lands. But we have alfalfa lands the farmers has, and I made a contract with them. Okay, and I will put liquid manure on after every cut. So it's not just for the good for fertilization, and also it's kind of rain. It's kind of rain for the next cut. So this is about the manure. Robots. If you ask me 6 years ago, I said that it's not for us, and robot is not a solution for the farmers and for the dairy farmers. And I would say robots for the small farmers, 100 cows, 150 cows. But I'm, as a consultant and a farmer, I cannot say I don't work and I don't want to know about robots. So I start learning I'm visiting a lot of robotic dairy farms. I know all of them pretty well. And I realized, and I put down a fact, I said, the biggest advantage of the robot is they can work in 2 ways. One way, they work perfectly. Not good, not best, perfectly. The robot works perfectly. The other way is not working. So if the robot is not working perfectly, the robot stops. So there is no chance to work a robot working half milking or working like changing the routine. No, like a milkers. Even if your best milker, they will work totally different in the morning and totally different in the afternoon. They will work totally different in Monday and totally different in Sunday afternoon. Robot can work just in one way perfectly. If it's not perfect, the robot stops and say, okay, we have a mistake, we have a fail, you have to fix it. So I'm open for the robots, and I think is this number of the herd size, we would say 5-6 years ago, it's about 200 and 300, maximum 300 cows of herd. It's able to, and it's a good solution for robots. But now today, I would say you can able to put 1,000 cows herds to robots. That will be the future. It's not just because of the labor source, because it's not cheaper. That's not going to be cheaper than the labor. No, it's not true. If somebody said it will save your labor cost, it's not true. Because labor cost, the milker are operating the milking parlor. The robots needs operate and maintenance as well. So keeping running the robots, they has a cost, a yearly cost. It's the same like if you have a milker. So it's not save your labor cost. It will give you a safety milk production, a continuously milk production. That's what the robot can give you. So I'm open for it. Is that okay?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gabor.
You're welcome.
Is there another questions from the?
Just one.
Yes, this one. Yeah.
Okay. I'm proud of you guys. For the Hungarians, I'm very glad that you could share your ideas and your philosophy. I got one question to László. You are considering the introduction of the sustainability index. And what about the reference population? What is the reference population today? And is there any performance testing in feed intake and gas emission, or are you considering a performance test for these traits? Actually, this is my question to you. And to Gabor,
okay.
You are care about return on investment. You are going to modernize a traditional farm. What are the steps you are going to modernize? What is the most investment, what you would start, and what's the second, what the third? And one more, because as you also mentioned, the heifer has got the largest cost. And also your production, lifetime production, very much depends on the raising up of the heifers. How can you be sure that the raising up of the heifers is perfect for your objective? Okay. Thanks so much, László.
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. Yes, you got the bottleneck of this whole process because this kind of emission station and feeding and measuring stations are very expensive, and collecting data on that, this is the part that we are missing at this moment. I know that some of the universities, for example, the Kaposvár campus, they do have that kind of inbuilt, totally closed facility for measuring the gas emission and also the feed intake and the feed of waste. And without that, you cannot make a really good performance testing. And this is why we are thinking another solution, because we are using more than 90% of this semen from imports, and the families and the bulls are what we are using. It's very almost the same as the whole Western European usage. And this is why also we build up our own reference population together with the Eurogenomics, which is representing the largest on the global market. And we contributed some of those information into this reference population, but we are using in Hungary together with the performance testing and the progeny testing program results, and also the genomic results. So we have a mixed reference population, which gives us very reliable information on the breeding values. And then we are trying to use that information what our colleagues already collected and received, and we try to interpolate that one to the Hungarian situation. And also parallel to that, we are looking for the solution for setting up some of these experiments in Hungary too. So we are happy and ready to open for any university who can offer that one for us.
All right, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Okay, the first question is the return of investments and the steps of the investments, how I do and how would I do, and already I did it in my previous place. First of all, if you want to modernize your farm, you have to sit down. And first question, what you have to do yourself, where should I be and where would I be after 10 or 15 years? After 10, 15, because if you are build a new barn, you build up at least 15 years. Is Laszlo can talk about, I think, a lot of changes what the Hungarian Holstein or the Holstein Friesian changed in the past 15 years. So if you want to be in 15 years in the top on the best farms, is it not just best production, best performance farm, also profitability farm. So it's up to, because you can be a best farm if you have no money for pay the checks. So it could be it has to be a good business. So you have to find out and you have to make a definition where we'd be in after 15 years. So the biggest problem, what most of the farmers do, they start looking for design and plans for today. They go to the farm, see, okay, what kind of building you have. That's kind of, when did you build it? 10 years ago. Oh, it's very nice. That's the barn I wanted to be. No, why? Why don't you go to Netherlands, for example? Why don't you go to the United States and see what's the newest technology for the cows? So if you know your cows produce 12,000 kilograms per lactation in old barns, will you build a new barn for 12,100 kilograms? No, because your money never returned. So if you are around with 12,000 kilograms, you put your target of 15,000 kilograms. So that's the target production, what you have to reach your investment, at least. So do everything the best, the newest technology, what we give a support and let this production manifest in the future. So what we are doing now, we are thinking and are still wondering where I should be in after 15 years. So I decided I will build up a new robotic farm, a new robotic barn. I get a lot of design, sketch. I saw a lot of Hungarian farms. I went to Canada. I went to the United States. Tomorrow I will go to Hanover, to the Eurotier, to see the new technologies. I don't want to install an old. Today, I want to install the next generations, or every time the new one. That's one of the biggest disadvantages of the Hungarian farmers. They want to buy what is cheap. If Elon Musk buy the cheapest rocket, they never go into space. The new is not cheap because you have to pay the brain, the know-how. So and I'm a little bit stranger and a little bit strange guy. I want to be the first. I want to be the first who show, who tell, who create. So first you have to set up your minds and this is the first question. Next one, put everything in details about price, who will do it, what's the steps next. Because if you have a running farm and you have to build up a new barn on the farm, it will be mess up everything. Mess up your people, mess up your cow, it will be a whole disaster. So you have to handle it. You cannot just start, okay, bring the big machines in the farm and start scraping, and the next day all the cows run away and your milk production drops down and you are just wondering what's happened. So you have to set up this too. And also you have to put datelines when you finish. And this is the biggest problem in Hungary. I don't want to share all of you guys what's our national problems, but it's if you cannot finish your investments or your buildings in a deadline or a time when you have to finish, it's not because we cannot fixing two pipes together, because about paying and the money. Because sometimes we don't want to pay in the right time. The instructor says, okay, I'm not going to build up your farm. But if you ask, okay, I had that kind of situation, we make all these plans, and okay, we raise our herd for 1,000 to 2,000. We start buying pregnant heifers. We start using 6 semen. And when you put the first straw semen in your heifer, after 9 months, this heifer will deliver the calf. If after 9 months your maternity pan, your fresh pan is not ready, the calf and the cow will calve on the ground. And it's case a lot of other problems too. So that's the steps what you have to. And about money, of course, the money is the biggest issue and the money is the biggest question. You have to see what you want to spend. Is it smart or not? Is it return or not? And this is my biggest. I'm struggle about this. Why we let dealers to say what your cows need? You have to know, as a farmer, you have to know what your cows need. Go the other farmers. Go to Netherlands. There's the forum here. Call them. What kind of fans? What kind of milking robots you have? Tell me the disadvantage and advantage of this robot. If I go, for example, one kind of distributor and go to the farms in Netherlands, of course we go just that kind of farms. They have that robots, and of course they will just let me know what's good. If you spend a bunch of millions of euro, you don't have a couple thousand euro to jump on your car and go Netherlands or Germany or Italy or even the United States and check yourself in with your eyes. So that's the way how I do my investment plans. And of course, if it's short time, even every time you spend more and more money, it's return less and slower and slower. So now what we do in this year, we spend a lot of money on the farm. But every investment was a short time. We saw the results next day, next week. So it was kind of a smart decision. The problem also with the Hungarian situation, owner is not farmer. Owner is not farmer. You can, as a manager, you can tell your owner, we need to spend 100,000 euro for this because next day we can raise up to 2 kilos of milk production. Your owner said, 200,000 euro is too much. We know, we don't spend for money. I have no disagreement with myself. So I see it's okay, it will return next week or the next month. I will spend this money and I find the best promoter or find the best support team and I build up. So that's it.
Question.
There's a question. Heifers. Heifers cost, we made the calculation, in an average Hungarian dairy farms, they have about 25 to 35% of the total cost, milk production cost is a heifer cost. That's right. I'm benchmarked to around 100 farms. Unfortunately, only 10 has right numbers. Can you imagine how many farmers they don't count, they don't managing, they heifer raising? I don't want to say names because all of you guys I know them. Ask them, what's the cost your heifer raising per kilograms, per piece? Oh, enough. Oh, they cannot say any numbers. So how do you manage something if you have no control? If you measure it, you can manage it. That's my words. So I measured. It's for me. I will talk about forints. I'm sorry, I'm not translating. It's for me. It's about 200 million forints per year cash. But I have to pay for heifer raising. But I only use just a second year heifers, because the second year heifers will be calved in this year. The rest of them are just keeping for on the farm, eating my feed, growing my manure storage, taking my people work. So if I have 0 hectare, I cannot let myself to feed that kind of animal who not produce nothing, just manure. So we put cows on the heifer place. So we have a lot of cows on the farm. They just produce milk, and I looking for the best heifers on the market, not the cheapest, the best one. I have contracts with the best Hungarian breeders, so I buy 4 times a year, usually between 40 and 30 heifers per transport. And what I do, I put heifer calving in a very, very low production period, but it's true for all Hungarian dairies, all in Europe, in May, April and May. Why? Because the April and May, all the calving of the cows are less, because that's the calving, but it's you inseminate your cows in the hottest day in the summer, and it's when it's hot, the reproduction number is not good. So that time, the next year, April, May, you don't have as much calving, so your milk production just goes a little bit higher and higher because it's getting better weather, but you have no milk. That's the reason why the milk price, every time if you see the milk price backwards, years and years, every time it gets starting up and up after April, May. What I do, I buy heifers for this time. So I grazing my milk production when the milk price is high, when my cows' fertility is low, so I can make a consistent milk production on the farm. That's what I do. So that's the reason why I use this heifer raising and heifer buying system.
All right. I think this is a solution what we need to add, because we have gathered 700 of solutions, and I think this wasn't mentioned, and I think this is a solution which worth to mention and spread in Europe. Okay.
No.
So I think we have to do a nice tour of Hungarian dairy production. Thank you, Gabor, for this very practical.
You're welcome. Anytime. Anytime.
It's important to listen to practitioners in this project also, and that's what we want to do. That's why in the next steps, now they're experts evaluating the solutions. And now in the second step, we will go with these solutions evaluated to the next meetings with cross meetings with farmers to evaluate this, so that farmers can say if the solution is practical or not. That's how we will continue, and I think you can stay tuned about the project on our webinar, on our website or Facebook site. We have like this, so you see what is going on, and I think Levente is keeping the NDA Hungary informed about what is going on in future in the project. So at the end, I thank you three for the participation in this very interesting webinar. Thank you, Levente, to have organizing this and to have for experts.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you to all of you.
Thank you again.
Hopefully see you once in a meeting.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Goodbye.
Bye.